Hello, YouTube. Welcome back to another episode of KLA Sports. I'm your host, Kyle Alexander, and today we're going to continue with the free agency review. We started off with the Ravens, and we're going to continue in that division, and we're going to go up to the team that finished in second place with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to go ahead and display the additions and losses right here. All right, the Steelers last year they finished in second place, which was pretty impressive for a team that lost their big three of Ben Roethlisberger, Antonio Brown, and Le'Veon Bell, and they also dealt with a lot of injuries to their backup players that stepped up. Like Juju went from being the number two to the number one receiver. He got hurt. James Conner started last year after Le'Veon Bell held out. He got hurt, and Roethlisberger went out with the elbow injury. But this team still managed to fight back. They traded for Minka Fitzpatrick, which was a great pick, and that was a great addition. And now they finished in second place, dealing with a bunch of injuries. Almost made playoffs as a 6 seed. So I give them respect or credit. I'll give them credit where it's due. But they also made some moves in free agency. They kept edge rusher Bud Dupree, who they franchise tagged. He's an up and coming edge rusher, or he had a breakout year last year, and I feel like this tag it was good because one, you keep the guy that you pair up with T.J. Watt on the other side, and not only that, this is like a prove deal where you can. It's like, all right, but we gave you the tag. Now, if you want that big extension, you gotta prove that last year wasn't a fluke, that it wasn't just a 1 year wonder. So I think that was pretty good. The tag might have been too much, but hey. Next up, they kept guard Matt Feiler. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. But they tendered him, and he's a versatile lineman. He can play tackle or guard, so that's going to give them a lot of leeway, especially with the retirement of Ramon Foster. Next up, you got they also kept cornerback Mike Hilton, who as they tendered him. He's an underrated slot corner. Well, he's an underrated corner, but he's a slot corner. He's good in the slot. He's holds his own, and he doesn't give. It's not like he gives up a lot of plays. Like he doesn't get burnt. Like he's pretty good in coverage, and he's definitely an up and coming corner, and that's definitely a key piece that you want to keep when considering you got young secondary Minka Fitzpatrick. And even though he's not young, you still got Joe Hayden, who's had a resurgence here in Pittsburgh, sort of. They also brought in T.J. Watt's brother, not J.J., but the fullback Derek Watt, who's a good blocker. Fullbacks don't get a lot of credit. Fullbacks are people too. Don't forget that. But he's a good blocking fullback, and that's definitely going to help with James Conner or whoever they have at running back, depending on that situation. And I've seen a lot where some people believe that J.J. Watt could go to Pittsburgh, considering that both of his brothers are there. As a Ravens fan, I hope that doesn't happen. But honestly, him and T.J. Watt, that would be a pretty scary duo. They also signed tight end Eric Ebron. Got him away from the Colts. He's a good tight end. He has nice size and he has the jump ball ability. And we've seen what he can do with Andrew Luck at quarterback. Now I think you got Ben Roethlisberger if he's able to play next year. I think that's a good pickup for them. They really haven't had a good tight end, or they really haven't had a great tight end since what's the name? Since was it Heath? They haven't had they really haven't had a good tight end since Heath Miller. And I think that Vance McDonald's been alright, but Eric Ebron is a much needed upgrade, and that's gonna be another weapon. They also got defensive end Chris Wormley from the Ravens in the trade. He can play nose tackle. He'll step in for Javon Hargrave, and honestly, I think he might be able to break out here in Pittsburgh. If you put him at nose, well, if you got him on the D line next to next to Cameron Hayward, I think he's gonna have room for improvement. And is gonna be able to break out. And they also signed guards Steven Wisniewski, who is a nice and underrated veteran guard. and that gives them some protection for a quarterback. Depending, they could draft a quarterback in the second or third round. Now the losses, they lost defensive tackle Javon Hargrave to the Eagles, and he's been a superb run stopper. He's been pretty good from the film I've seen on him. He's great at getting the run, stopping the running back, and shutting down the run. I think he's an underrated pass rusher too. So I'll get into that when I do the Eagles video. But yeah, that's a big loss for Pittsburgh, and I've seen a lot of Pittsburgh fans wanting him back, and Steelers fans saying, because I know the Eagles weren't too thrilled about the sign. Some Steelers fans were saying how unappreciated he is. He's being like he was being underappreciated by Eagles fans so far. So yeah, I think that's a big loss for Pittsburgh. They also lost tight end Nick Vannett to the Broncos. He showed flashes and potential last year, but like I said, he got an upgrade in Eric Ebron, so it's not too bad. And they also lost safety Sean Davis to the Redskins, who was an underrated safety. I think he's consistent, great tackler, but at the same time, you got Minkah Fitzpatrick, but honestly, I think you could have kept Davis and just moved Minkah to the other safety position, or Davis, whichever one. So yeah, I say Sean Davis. He was like a good player. I think I could see him breaking out in Washington, but at the same time, if you got Minkah Fitzpatrick, it's not too big of a loss. But then it's like you need two safeties, so yeah, I feel like he's a consistent safety. But yeah, all right. So that's it for the additions and losses. Now overall, Steelers have I'd say they had a pretty successful off season, or I say they had a pretty successful off season so far. I say they got an upgraded weapon at tight end in Ebron, and he's going to be a problem for the corner for some of the players for the defenses in the AFC. And that gives them a better, like I said, a better weapon. Helps them out in the passing game too with the injuries they had at receiver, but then also with the players stepping up like James Washington. They keep the consistent secondary that they had last year with Mike Hilton, Minkah Fitzpatrick, and Joe Hayden, so they're able to keep that. And they added to their better O line. Like their O line was pretty good, but then with the loss of Ramon Foster, then they pick up Wisniewski from the Chiefs, and they keep Matt Fiedler with the tender, who can play inside or outside. So I say that's a pretty good. Those are pretty good moves. And then the draft's coming up, and it's pretty loaded in the offensive lineman position, mainly tackle. So yeah, Pittsburgh can have his choice. They still have a great pass rushing unit from last year. They still got T.J. Watt, Bud Dupree, Cameron Hayward. I know they lost Javon Hargrave, but they got Chris Wormley. Like I say, I believe he'll have a breakout year, especially next to Cameron Hayward and T.J. Watt. If you got players trying to double team Watt, then double team Hayward, that has to leave room open for Wormley. So yeah, and going into the draft, or I'll say so far in free agency, Pittsburgh, I'll give them a B. I'll give them a B grade. They got an upgraded weapon at tight end. They kept Bud Dupree on the franchise tag. They're able to get Chris Wormley, who they can potentially move inside with the loss of Javon Hargrave, and they added to the O line. And they didn't lose a lot of people. They lost 3 people, and then they cut some players to create cap space. Like they're not in a great cap situation, so to make some of this stuff work, I'll give them a B. And going into the draft in the second round, I could see him possibly taking a quarterback. I see him taking a quarterback, receiver, or defensive back. Because receiver, you lost Antonio Brown and Juju, didn't have a great season. Well, you got considering the fact that they switched quarterbacks, but receivers, especially with the injuries too, you had James Washington step up, but then it was like who's going to be that other receiver. So I could see him getting a receiver, especially in the stat class, and maybe Jalen Reagor if he falls. I could see that. And Pittsburgh's good at drafting receivers too. Quarterback, I see Jalen Hurts. I think he'll be good in that Pittsburgh, or I think he'll be good in Pittsburgh. He'll have potential there. He'll have his time to shine. and plus he'll be able to learn from Roethlisberger, so that's a plus. And honestly, I think that would be a good fit. And then also defensive back, they needed a secondary for a while. Now they could get another safety. I see maybe a Jordan Fuller or a Kyle Duggar at safety or at corner. I'm not really sure who might be there at corner. Maybe Jeff Gladney or actually I don't see Gladney or Cameron Datzler from Mississippi State. Could see one of those players being there. But yeah, that's how I'll go into the draft. Alright, that's it for this episode. Let me know in the comment section below if you agree with some of the Pittsburgh moves and what you think they'll do going into the draft. Also, let me know how you think they did in the offseason. Yeah, that's it for this episode. Next, we're going to be doing the Cleveland Browns. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I will talk to you guys next time.